Excuse me? Yes, over here.
Ooh, I need brown. Oops.
This is Bingo, and she's considered to be nice. By the end of this video, I want to speak about that word, nice. Because never have I seen an episode portray what comes with that word, and how sometimes we may misuse it. Growing up, I've experienced nice people. Nice people get along with everyone. Nice people tend to have solid reputations. Nice people tend to not rock the boat because that's not nice. But what happens when something happens that wasn't great to that nice person? Such as someone eating your last chip due to a miscommunication.
Is Bingo gonna eat that chip?
No, I think she's finished.
Scab!
There. Hey, where's my chip?
As soon as I started watching this episode, so many people in my life today, not even when I was that age, today came to mind. So many people where things happen to them and they tuck their emotions to not rock the boat. In fact, if I know my subscriber base well, and I think I do, many of you watching this video are as nice as Bingo is. However, I've always wondered, are the people who consider themselves nice that way because it is who they are? Or are the people who consider themselves nice that way because they fear being any other way? I mean, you don't want to be known as a person who's confrontational, right? Someone who's hard to deal with? Nah, it's better not to make a big deal out of it. Bingo, in this episode titled Dance Mode, is going to have several not nice things happen to her. And in being nice, she will brush it off, as this is the default reaction of many nice people.
I was saving that chippy.
I know. I said I was sorry, kid.
It's my fault. I thought you'd finished.
I was still very hungry.
As I continued to watch this episode, I felt bad for Bingo. Not because of the things that happened to her, but because of the way she felt appropriate to respond. And it will become more clear when she gets 3 opportunities to summon what's called Dance Mode. A mode where anyone in the family has to dance anywhere, no matter what. Personally, in exchange for an eaten chip, that sounds like a great deal. And her parents do a good job of accepting the deal to cheer her up. However, there's one subtle detail that I want to keep in your mind. Bingo did not come up with the idea of dance mode, Bluey did. And I think that's realistic, as I've seen plenty of older siblings speak for their younger siblings. It's a natural thing that happens, and in this case, Bingo was excited for the idea, so this is a good thing. The problem comes into play when Bluey and the rest of the family continue to speak for Bingo, when she was the original one that was wronged.
Bingo, music! Shall we put Mom in dance mode? Yes, okay. I'll do it. Dance mode!
As Chili starts dancing, it seems like everything is back to normal. But it's not. Again, Bluey is speaking for Bingo, using her dance modes that she got because she was spoken for with her chip. Now, does this make Bluey mean? No. Bluey is a 6-year-old child. Children can be impulsive. Children often want instant gratification. She was just as excited as Bingo when the deal was made, so naturally she'd want to see it happen as soon as possible. Her intent was simply to have a good time, and she meant well by asking first. What she didn't know is that Bingo, like many people, maybe even you watching, tends to not say no to ruin the moment, but she does speak up about it after the fact.
Bluey, the next dance mode is going to be mine to choose one, okay? Not you. Okay.
There's 2 types of people in this experience. People who can say no, and everyone else. Unfortunately, many nice people that I meet, they can't say no. Like they know the word, but it's not about the word. It's never been about the word. It's about the reaction that comes with it. When Bingo goes to the post office, while she's firm with Bluey about saving her dance modes for somewhere special, there's a difficult scenario that pops up. Now, it's not her sibling, someone whom she may consider a peer, but her mother. If nice people struggle to say no to their siblings, imagine a struggle it'd be for someone who you would consider an authority. I'd imagine for Bingo, she doesn't want to disappoint her mother, and in saying no, at least to her, she risks that. Again, it's not about the word, it's about the reaction. Oftentimes, nice people who I meet tend to value the relationships or reputation they have with others over their own personal happiness. And while I consider everyone in the family to simply just not have the self-awareness to understand how Bingo is feeling right now, in the real world, this is exactly how bad actors tend to go unpunished in front of large groups of people. As a person who runs a Discord community, link in the description below, I've seen it several times. One person who no one wants to speak up about, but when they ask in private, how do you feel about so-and-so? They say exactly what that person is thinking. yet nothing happens. And you wanna know why? Usually because they don't want to be mean. So when Bingo gives her second dance mode to her mother to get revenge on Bandit, it's partially a funny thing, but she only has one dance mode left. And she hasn't used one at all.
When are you gonna use your last dance mode, Bingo? Last one? But I haven't even used my first one yet.
And that's so important. No one picks up on it at the moment, but that's how Bingo feels. She just doesn't have that outside voice to make sure that she's heard about it. For her, I can understand because she's a child, and children tend to not know that this is something that they can and should do. And oftentimes they grow into a teenager who doesn't know how to do it. And then they grow into an adult who doesn't know how to do it. And I think that's what happens to a lot of nice people in the world. The Healer family hears some type of music ahead, and given how Bandit and Chili are still shaking up over their last dance mode, they use the word no happily.
That's
Whoa, hang on.
Yeah, hang on.
Hey.
Look, you seem like you've cheered up, Bingo. Maybe we can forget about that last dance mode. I'm gonna buy your last dance mode off you for 20 bucks.
Bandit, no!
Now, if you know the pattern of what happened up to this point, not only would Bluey encourage Bingo to accept it, but here, she's at the biggest struggle. She'd have to say no to everyone, 3 people whom she loves, and who knows how they'd react. Imagine the pressure that'd be put on Bingo to just go with the flow. Again, you don't want to be known as the person who's confrontational, right? It's better not to make a big deal out of it. Except, it's not. In this episode, everyone else has spoken about what they want and how they feel, but this situation happened because they did that to Bingo's detriment. In a sense, up to this point, they're teaching Bingo that to make the people around her happy, she shouldn't speak up for herself. And in many cases, that is seen as being nice. And I don't see it that way. I think she's being polite, but not nice. She's not being nice at all to the most important person here, herself.
Oh, here it is. Look, Bingo. What do you think? Do you want it? Yeah, should we get it? Okay. Hey!
She was wronged. And I feel like so many people around me conflate nice and not nice alongside polite and impolite. However, I understand the difference, and it's allowed me to circumvent a lot of people who may seem nice on the surface, but are not. You see, in my moral compass, nice and not nice is dependent on the intent, and polite and impolite is dependent on the presentation. So yes, you can have someone who's impolite and nice, or you can have someone who's polite and not nice. The latter are people who may appear nice in public, but you always seem to have a negative time around them, even if it doesn't appear that way optically. But the former, I like to think is myself. I like to think my presentation and how I pick words outside of YouTube videos is a lot more blunt, and optically can be seen as impolite, or as other people may word it, a bit mean. Which leads to some people who may talk to me on Discord to have a different, arguably more accurate view of me. And as a person who's been the only person to speak up in all of the groups of friends that I've had who don't say anything when their inside voice is screaming that there's a problem, I've become that default friend. And I think that's why this episode speaks so much to me. I've had so many Bingos around me who don't say anything because they don't want to appear rude. And I'm at the point in my life where I just don't really care about how I'm viewed in defending me or the people who I care about, because to me, that's being nice. I think knowing that I can stand up for people and amplify their inside voices, even if it leads to a confrontation or people not liking what I have to say, is nice. I think bottling up your feelings because you don't want to look like someone who causes problems, thus leading to a poorer quality of life because people make decisions that are against your interests or preferences, is not nice to yourself. But I understand that using your outside voice, speaking up, is hard for people. It's a skill that you have to learn. And believe me, those uncomfortable conversations never get easier to do. But I just understand what is the alternative if I were to act like Bingo does. And I'm sure many of you have reflected and felt like if you spoke up earlier or said what your inside voice was saying in some moments in your life, it may have been uncomfortable in the short term, but you contemplate if you would have felt happier in the long term. So I understand why Bingo feels the way that she does, because for a long time, well, after 4 years old, I was Bingo. And I wouldn't say how I felt, and I understood while it made everyone else feel better, that didn't make me feel better. And I just learned to live with it until I understood that I didn't have to.
Oh, Bingo, what's up?
You want to tell us what's the matter, honey?
Do you not like your yes/no button?
No!
But you said you wanted it!
She did, but not because she wanted it, but because she didn't want to disappoint Bluey or fight over the decision. I remember when this scene went viral on Twitter, and I wish I had seen the episode then. Seeing her use the toy to say the words that she can't say is powerful. I even enjoy how Bluey asks what is a fair question here.
I asked. We all asked. And she said yes. Didn't you, Bingo?
Yes.
See? So what are we meant to do then?
And I think that is a fair question. Bingo did say yes all of those times, and it's hard to read minds, if not impossible. I think in this scenario, it's fair to admit that they got carried away and weren't mindful of the reason why the dance modes were given out in the first place. So in the context of a parent and a child, it is the responsibility of the parent to be cognizant of the fact that a child may not know how to word the feelings they may have and ask plenty of questions to figure things out.
Bingo, sometimes does your outside voice say yes when your inside voice really means no?
Oh yeah, like this.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Bingo.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
However, to many of you who are watching this and feel like Bingo in your life, you may not like this answer, but you gotta develop the skill of doing this. I will say, my life has gotten better when I practice that, and it took me an embarrassingly long time to commit to doing that, and my quality of life has increased immensely once I started doing that. If people care about you and understand empathy, then they'll react positively. Sometimes people don't know that they're doing it. Sometimes they do, and that's a different story. But as you can tell here, no one meant harm, which is why I wouldn't call anyone here malicious or mean-spirited. However, I'd hope Bingo would learn that you have to be nice to yourself, and part of that is speaking up for yourself, as she has a supportive family that want her to be happy and would do anything for it, including a dance mode in public.
Yeah! Here we go. Yes.
So in my Bluey journey, I've seen 4 episodes so far, and dance mode is my second favorite. Again, I've only seen 4 episodes, but I'm gonna keep my favorite a secret for now because I may want to surprise you guys with it later, but until then, you gotta check out this thread I found where so many parents spoke out against this Bluey episode here.